Guys, Mr. Bowman here. Today's learning objective is in yellow, and we are learning to use trigonometry to find unknown sides or angles in given right angle triangles. So this learning objective is fairly similar, the only difference being or. So this time around, instead of me giving you the same question, I'm giving you a mixture of questions. Finding the sides, both types, when it's on the numerator and denominator, and finding the angles. So it's your job to decipher all of them, figure out which one's which, and then come up with an answer for them. So before we get on with this, I just want to write something really important down. Hopefully you know what I'm writing down. So katoa. Whenever you're doing trigonometry questions, it's really handy to have that there because that gives you a bit of guidance as to which formula you're going to use. Let's get into the first question, and once we've done the question, I'm going to explain what type of question it is so we can see how each of the three questions, even though they look really similar, how they differ from each other. So step number one in trigonometry, we've got to label our sides. Labeling is really, really important. So here's our right angle. Opposite to that is the hypotenuse. Here's our given angle. Opposite to that is the opposite. And finally, we've got our given angle and our right angle. That there is the adjacent. We then cross out the side we don't care about. We don't care about the H. And that leaves O and A. So O and A, go back to our sakatoa. So toa has the O and A in it. So we're going to be using toa to help us with this triangle. So tan angle equals O over A. We've got our equation, which is the second step. Third step, we've got to substitute. So we need to put in everything. So this stands for angle. So our angle is 35 degrees. So we're going to change that to tan 35. That there is equal to O, which is the little a up there, divided by A, which is 6 meters. So that's going to become 6. We're now going to use our algebra to solve this. So that divide by 6 is cancelled out by times 6. And I'm going to do a times 6 over here as well. So that means A is equal to 6 times tan 35. And this is where I grab my calculator out. 6 times tan 35. That there is equal to 4.2 meters. And that there had a 1 dp rounding. So this is the first type of question we're looking at. And this is a side question. So we're looking at the sides, but the unknown is on the numerator or the top of the fraction. Unknown on top of fraction. So that's the first type of question we're looking at. Let's have a look at the other two types now. So we're on question 2. First step, we've got to label our sides. So there's our hypotenuse. There's our opposite. And there's our adjacent, and we have no interest in that opposite, leaving us with A and H. That makes ka. So we're going to write down our formula of interest. So cos angle is equal to A over H. That's step 1 and 2 done. We've labeled and we found the equation we're interested in. We're now going to substitute. Our angle is 45 degrees, so that means cos 45 is going to be equal to is going to be equal to 12. That's A divided by B. And this is what makes this type of question different. If you have a look here, the letter is on the top in the red question, and now it's on the bottom for the orange question. So when it's on the bottom, we switch the B and the cos 45 around. So B is going to be equal to 12 divided by cos 45. And you put that into your calculator. 12 divided by cos 45, that there is equal to 17.0 kilometers, and that there had a 1 dp rounding. So this is our second type of question, and it's calculating the sides, just like our first question was, but this time around, what's different is the unknown is on the bottom of the fraction. So unknown on the bottom of fraction. So that's what makes that one different. Finally, question 3, our last question. First step, label your sides. So there's the hypotenuse, there's the opposite, there's the adjacent. We don't care about the hypotenuse. That's our first step, label the sides. We're now going to get into deciding on which equation we're looking at. And again, we're dealing with O and A, which is what? So we've got tan delta, or tan angle, equals O divided by A. We're now going to substitute the angle we've called C. That's our unknown this time. We're trying to figure out the angle. Angle C is equal to 6 divided by 8. There is 6 divided by 8. C is going to be equal to inverse tan 6 divided by 8. C is going to be equal to, this is where we grab out our calculator. So it's going to be inverse tan divided by 8 in brackets. And that's going to get me to 36.9 degrees. So 36.9 degrees, and that they had a 1 dp rounding. And this is our third type of question. It's different to the other ones because the first two we're trying to find the sides. But this question here, we're trying to find the angle. Those are our three types of questions. Sides, when the unknown is on the top of the fraction. Sides, where the unknown is on the bottom of the fraction. And finding the angle. So hopefully this mixed video was useful. Just a note, we did use tan, cos, and tan. Don't forget about sine. So it is random. Not always the same trig functions are going to come up. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Now let's get into heaps of practice.